Feb 28, 2026. A missile strike. Iran's supreme leader, dead. You didn't feel anything that day. 6 months later, you're standing at a petrol pump, watching the number climb faster than it used to. You're at the grocery store, and somehow, the same basket costs more than it did last month. Nobody connected those two moments for you. I'm about to. Let's go back. Late February, the US and Israel hit Iran directly. Not a warning strike, a real one. Iran's supreme leader was killed in that operation. Iran didn't stay quiet. Within days, missiles were flying toward American military bases, Jordan, the UAE, Qatar. This wasn't a headline anymore. This was a war, live, unfolding in real time. And here's the part that should have made every news channel lead with money instead of politics. Oil prices jumped more than 25% within weeks of the war starting. Now most people hear, oil prices went up, and just shrug. Petrol, sure, that's obvious. But that's where people stop thinking. That's exactly where the real story starts. There's a strip of water between Iran and Oman. It's barely 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. It's called the Strait of Hormuz. You've probably never said that name out loud in your life. But every single day before this war, your life was running through it without you knowing. A quarter of the entire world's oil passes through that strait, close to a fifth of the world's gas. One narrow channel carrying enough fuel to power hospitals, farms, airports, and factories on almost every continent. When Iran threatened to shut that route down, that wasn't posturing. Watch what actually happened to the traffic through it. Before the war, around 130 ships crossed that strait every single day. By August, that number had crashed to somewhere between 8 and 15. Read that again. 130 ships a day, down to single digits. More than 60 attacks were recorded on commercial ships trying to pass through. 17 people died. Back to Iran. Captains stopped taking the risk. Shipping companies rerouted. Insurance costs on that route went through the roof. And every one of those decisions had a price tag. One that eventually landed on you. Here's where it actually hits your life. Not in a headline. In your bank account. In America, the average petrol price jumped to $3.41 a gallon. Up 43 cents in a single week. That's the version people barely noticed, because America can absorb shocks better than most countries. Now look at Vietnam. Petrol prices there rose 50%. In 7 days. Not months. A week. Imagine waking up on a Monday, and by the following Monday, filling your tank costs half as much again as it did before. Pakistan felt it. Nigeria felt it. Country after country, the same pattern. A war they had no part in, showing up as an invoice at the petrol pump. Some governments tried to hide it from their own people for a while. Indonesia controlled fuel prices, kept them artificially low, protected citizens, temporarily. But that kind of protection doesn't come free. Someone always pays eventually. If it's not you today, it's you in 3 months, buried inside inflation, or a weaker currency, or higher taxes nobody explained properly. And it wasn't just petrol stations that felt the pressure. Egypt's own president came out and called his country's economic situation a near emergency. Egypt, a country that never fired a single bullet in this war. Djibouti's finance minister warned that smaller economies near the trade routes could get pulled deeper into crisis, just from proximity, just from being close to where the ships pass. None of these countries chose this war. They inherited the bill anyway. Now here's the part that should worry you more than anything I've said so far. This story didn't end. By July, things looked like they were settling down. Oil dropped below $71 a barrel, the lowest point since the war began. Because talks between the US and Iran seemed to be going somewhere. People exhaled. Analysts said the worst was over. It wasn't. In early August, Iran came out and said the strait would stay closed, unless the US gave major concessions. Prices climbed right back up. This is what modern economic wars actually look like. Not one clean event with a clear beginning and end. A cycle. Tension rises. Prices spike. Talks happen. Things calm down, then something breaks the calm, and it spikes again. And every single time that cycle repeats, It's not the politicians who feel it first. It's not the generals. It's you, standing at a petrol pump, or looking at a grocery receipt, wondering why your salary suddenly buys less than it used to. Your money didn't lose value because you made a bad decision. It lost value because a war you never voted on, involving a strait you'd never heard of, decided the price of the oil that moves absolutely everything you touch. You don't have to trade oil, invest in oil, or even care about oil for this to reach you. It already has. It already did. If this made you see something you didn't see before, that's what this channel does every single time. No fluff, no fancy editing, just the real story behind your money. Hit subscribe if you want to actually understand what's happening to your money, instead of just feeling it happen.